Welcome back to Bash Bros in episode 96 of Notorious Pro Wrestling, the TEW Let's Play series where we find out what exactly would happen if Conor McGregor started his own wrestling promotion. It is time for the Fear No Man pay-per-view, our biggest pay-per-view of the year, in my opinion. I keep saying in my opinion, I don't know. All our pay-per-views kind of started at the same time, so they're all the same prestige. But I like to think of Fear No Man as our Wrestlemania. You guys were with us just last week, so let's take a look at what the go-home show for the pay-per-view looked like. All in all, we scored a 70, very strong. And on that show, we continued the Miles Kamen Kip Sabian feud, with Kip attacking Miles after a victory over Stevie Boy. Maki Ito finally able to overcome her demons, the monkey on her shoulder, and getting a very clean win over Crazy Mary Dobson, giving her momentum going in to her title match tonight against Mad Marley Quinn. We had the contract signing for the P12. That was between Easton Reese and Claudio Castagnoli, Easton Reese having the prestige behind him. And that ended up with Claudio going through the contract table like all good contract angles end up doing. We then officially had the breakup of the Filthy Generation with Kaylee Ray turning on them. She didn't turn face, but pretty much she's a winner, they're losers, and she threw Stevie Boy off the stage, as well as taking out Aspen and Lewis with a baseball bat. So that will kind of signify the start of a repush, rebranding for Kaylee Ray. And in the main event, we had Jay Lethal versus Chris Hero with a very good 66. And then after that, Will Hobbs returned to make the save, clearing house against Lethal and Storm, sporting an eye patch after getting a beer bottle smashed directly into his face. And that set up the hardcore match tonight between Jay Lethal and Will Hobbs. As with every pay-per-view, let's take a look at the match card then, and all the storylines leading into it. We don't have any news, to be brutally honest with you. The only news I had left in my notes was about Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair going to Impact, but I'm almost certain I covered that in the previous one, so yeah, we're not doing that again. Cast your minds back over a year ago when Mad Marley Quinn fractured her skull during a tag match with her partner, Crazy Mary Dobson, and Maki Ito and Riho as the opponents. Marley Quinn was then out for over a year, and during that time, Crazy Mary Dobson went off the deep end a little bit and sided with Jake the Snake Roberts. Upon Marley Quinn's return, though, she has been able to get her friend back on a slightly less crazy path and join forces with them, and now she has earned the right to face Maki Ito for the NPW Women's Championship. Maki Ito does feel bad about injuring Mad Marley Quinn, and she has made that feel apparent, especially during the contract signing for this match, but she will not let the title go willingly and give Marley Quinn one hell of a fight. Will Marley Quinn have her fairy tale ending, or will Maki Ito continue her dominant reign as NPW Women's Champion? Jay Lethal believes he is the franchise player for Notorious Pro Wrestling and was looking to hire some muscle. After an impressive showing during the Big and Bad Battle Royal, Jay Lethal approached Will Hobbs about joining forces. However, Will Hobbs had been in that position before in the past with his ex-friend Ace Austin and rejected Jay Lethal. This pissed off Jay. He has systematically attacked Will Hobbs after damn near every match he's been in, low-blowing him 4 times, and finally joining forces with James Storm to injure Will Hobbs by smashing a glass bottle directly into Will's face. Hobbs returned on the Wanted just passed, sporting an eye patch in the injured eye and cleaning house of Jay Lethal and James Storm, which sets up the match tonight, which will be Jay Lethal versus Will Hobbs in a hardcore match. Grizzled young vets have been playing some mind games with Aussie Open, attacking their fellow Australian brethren, the Velocities, and then going as far to reject a tag team title match because they wanted it on their terms. The Velocities and Aussie Open at that pay-per-view then went on to have an exhibition match, and the Velocities were pretty dang good. Pretty damn good indeed. Impressing the audience. Aussie Open, I'll be honest, they impressed me. That's the important point here. So much so that when the grizzled young vets came back and wanted their tag title opportunity, Aussie Open said, you know what, if you think that you deserve it, the Velocities deserve one just as much, and the champions inserted the Velocities into this tag match. So tonight that means it will be the grizzled young vets versus the Velocities versus Aussie Open for the Notorious Pro Wrestling Tag Team titles. It is the final of the Proper 12 tournament. And this year Conor McGregor added a little bit of spice into the tournament by making it for the brand new Notorious Pro Wrestling Intercontinental Championship. Claudio Castagnoli, after debuting just a few months ago, had an impressive tournament and won Block A. Easton Reese had a little bit more of a treacherous past, a bumpy path to the finals. He was on a bit of a losing streak until he settled matters with the Prestige, the faction he's had an on-off relationship with. But with the backing of Nick Aldis, Zach Gibson and James Drake, he conquered the rest of the field and has made it to the Proper 12 finals. Will the Swiss Superman be able to overcome the numbers game and beat Easton Reese for the IC title? Or will Easton Reese's mission to claim gold in Notorious Pro Wrestling finally come true? For a couple of months now, Kenny Omega has been attacked by a hooded figure after many of his matches, and just at the start of this month it was revealed that the man attacking Kenny Omega was AJ Styles, out for retribution against Kenny Omega, who usurped him as the leader of the Bullet Club back in Japan all those years ago. But we don't know much about AJ's motives other than that. AJ even went as far as to disrupt a 4-way number 1 contenders match, allowing Pac to get the pin. That included his opponent tonight, Pentagon Jr. Conor McGregor, deciding he'd had enough of AJ's sneaky tactics, has offered AJ Styles a chance to earn an NPW contract if he can beat an opponent of his choosing. And of course, wasn't Pentagon the first one to step up after getting screwed by AJ in the number 1 contenders match? Blindsiding AJ and spraying mist in his eyes, Pentagon is ready for revenge. And in our main event, Pac is the former Notorious Pro Wrestling World Champion, and in his very first match, Kenny Omega dethroned him. Although Kenny Omega has been a bit sidetracked by the constant attacks of AJ Styles, Pac has been laser focused on recapturing the World Championship. But how will things play out tonight? Will a distracted Kenny Omega falter and allow Pac to retain, or is Kenny going to take all his frustrations out on the contender Pac? There's only one way to find out, and that's to let them do battle in the ring tonight in the main event. So that is the card. It's a good card. I do like a lot of our matches. I do like the P12 final. I'm kind of really excited about AJ Styles versus Pentagon. I have no idea how that's going to go, but it could be really good. So, let's start the show. Or let's book the show. Okay, and we are back, coming at you from the National Stadium in Dublin. This is actually where OTT hold their big shows in real life, is the National Stadium. So, very cool that we are kind of now on that level within Ireland anyway of OTT. Yeah, that's pretty cool that we are at that size now. So here is the card for tonight. Actually quite a lot of angles, to the point where 2 of them, I usually put my angles at 6 minutes. That's because Usually that's kind of the minimum amount of time you would need to get the full points, I suppose is the best way to describe it. So 2 of them are 3 minutes long, so they won't get the best rating possible, unfortunately, but they're not massive ones. Plus we've got a Conor McGregor promo and a Maki Ito promo in there, so they will be good enough that to carry the overall score of the angles. In terms of instructions then, so AJ Styles versus Pentagon Jr. is only going 15 minutes and is set for the Steal the Show, which hopefully it will. Jay Lethal and Will Hobbs is set to a wild brawl because it is a hardcore match. Mad Marley Quinn versus Maki Ito is down to storytelling, just because obviously of the idea of like she's been out for about a year now, and this is kind of the culmination of all that. And finally, Pac versus Kenny Omega is spectacle again, because I'm going to ride that motherfucker right until I don't get a bonus for it. So yeah, there's that. Okay, that is the talking done. Let's run our Wrestlemania, shall we? Backstage promo then. Will Hobbs promises that every ounce of pain he felt when Storm smashed the beer bottle into his face, he will inflict double that onto Jay Lethal tonight. 48 rated segment. And in a pre-show match, the British Wrestling Embassy defeated Kip Sabian and Les Artistes when Miles Kamen submitted Lucas DeLeo. Miles 59, which is that kid's good. That kid is good. Like, he is knocking on the door of being a main eventer already. Thomas a 46, which is okay. Mark a 49, which is okay. Peter a 49, which is okay. Lucas a 42, which is okay. And Kip a 64, which is great. Kip really could be a main eventer. Definitely not going to be getting the title on him anytime soon, but he could be wrestling for the title, no bother. 59 overall, which is good. Then on to the main show. AJ Styles defeats Pentagon Jr. with a Super Styles Clash. AJ 56, that's okay. I mean, it's good, but I was kind of hoping for 60s, I'll not lie. Pentagon Jr. at 61. All in all, a 62 rated match, which is good. Yeah. I'm not too concerned. It's his first match and it was only 15 minutes. I was hoping for more from AJ, I'll not lie. So next up, post-match, AJ demands Conor McGregor comes down in the ring, gives him his contract, and he won't release the submission on Pentagon until he does. So he puts Pentagon in the calf crusher, until Conor runs down to the ring with the contract. AJ releases the submission, snatches the contract, and walks away. 76 rated segment, which is good. Next up, Jay Lethal defeats Will Hobbs in 15 minutes in a hardcore match. So Jay Lethal got a 56. Jay can do better, but because it was kind of focused on a wild brawl, he wasn't going to get his best performance. That was just to give Will Hobbs a bit more of a chance with his good brawling stats, and he did. He got a 55, which is strong for Will. All in all, a 58, so they outperformed vastly. So yeah, that is a good result there. So during the match then, James Storm will come down and smash another beer bottle into Will Hobbs' face directly, and that'll be after maybe like Jay Lethal somehow claws off the eye patch, so the glass is going into that re-injured eye. That is now Will Hobbs written off, and we'll be going down the Rev Pro for a spell. He doesn't need the polish, to be honest, but we do have a severe lack of heavyweights down in Rev Pro. Plus, with Carlos Romo being down there, that's another tag team we could possibly put together, them kind of being former allies in their rivalry against Ace Austin many years ago. Well, not years, but months ago now. So yeah, that would be kind of cool to get them back together. Really just kind of bolstering up the heavyweight division of Rev Pro. Next up then, in the P12 finals, in a superb match, Reese defeated Claudio in 15-20 after Nick Aldis interferes. So Reese wins the P12 tournament and wins the Intercontinental title. So Claudio with a 65, Reese with a 53. Claudio made Reese look strong. Yeah, that 53 is a good result for Reese, so Claudio had his boots on. 63 is good. That's probably the best match Reese has ever had, a 63. So, why did I go with Reese, especially over Claudio? A couple of reasons. One, Claudio, if you remember correctly, we do plan on reuniting the Kings of Wrestling, and they are probably going to win the tag titles at some point. So that's reason one. Reason two, it ties into the storyline of kind of Reese, not liking the prestige and stuff, but then he kind of decided, yeah, no, I'm better with you guys. And that storyline doesn't work if he doesn't win, essentially. So if he didn't win the title, yeah, that's not... What's the point of him being like, yeah, we work really well together. Oh shit, I lost. Doesn't make sense. So he will not have a long reign. I've stated before, the Intercontinental Championship in NPW, although it is a mid-card title, is kind of the workhorse title. So the guys who are very good in the ring but not great on the mic. So the likes of Ray Phoenix, the likes of Jonathan Gresham, those sort of guys who make really good matches but just don't cut those killer promos. And that's kind of going to be what that title is going forward. So although Reese currently has the belt, he will not have a long reign. The first proper champion, long-term champion, is probably going to be Jonathan Gresham. He is going to be challenging for it next. And I think we'll win it after 1 or 2 attempts. He won't win it right away, but after a couple of attempts he will win. Moving on then. So Claudio kindly used his superior skills to make Easton Reese look particularly strong. The match was... Claudio, you're a good guy. So post-match then, the Prestige enter the ring and celebrate with Easton Reese and the new IC title. 57 overall, which is good. Next up, Mad Marley Quinn defeats Maki Ito in 17:55 via submission and wins the NPW Women's Championship. Marley had a 51, which is good. Maki Ito had a 57, which is good. All in all, a 56 rated match, which is good. Now, you may be wondering, why did I take the belt off Maki? Literally up until I recorded this episode, Maki was going to win this. But, kind of thinking out loud, if I was watching this on TV, after Marley Quinn getting injured for over a year, coming back, then fighting, scratching and clawing her way up to a title match, the obvious move is actually for Marley Quinn to win it, and that's the way I kind of think about it. I think she is nowhere near as good a champion as Maki, brutally honest. The performance in this match does tell you that, but from a storyline perspective, she should win. She should. It just makes sense. So Mad Marley Quinn is going to have this not for long. My plan is, so she'll have it for maybe 3 or 4 months. Not a particularly long reign, especially by our standards. She will defend it at the next pay-per-view, and then the one after that. So it'll be a European talent, top female European talent at the Made in Europe pay-per-view. And the pay-per-view after that will be Raven Creed, who's going to be kind of feuding with the Barbed Wire Dolls. That is Marley Quinn and Crazy Mary Dobson. And then after that is probably when we are going to have B. Priestley and Jimmy Hayter go for the belts. Go for the belt. So they'll kind of feud with Barbed Wire Dolls. Post-match then, Crazy Mary Dobson comes out and it's all hugs and tears with Mad Marley Quinn. And then Maki Ito kind of comes up to them. Mad Marley Quinn extends the hand. Maki Ito flips her off. And then Mad Marley Quinn flips off Maki Ito. And then they hug. Because at the end of the day, they don't hate each other. The reason why Mad Marley Quinn getting injured with the match with Maki Ito is just a freak coincidence, especially the injury she got. So there is no hostility there, and I want to keep them both face. I don't think either of them need to turn heel. So yeah, that's how it is currently. Next up, the 3-way for the tag titles. So in an upset, the Velocities, yes, the Velocities defeated Grizzled Young Vets and Aussie Open for the tag titles. So before we get into the how this happens, I'll go through the stats. So Zach had a 60, which is good. James had a 60, which is good. Jude had a 69, which is awesome. Paris had a 66, which is awesome. Kyle a 65, awesome. Mark a 65, awesome. All in all, a 64. Maybe a wee bit low. Would like to see me closer to the 69 mark, but still, awesome match. Everyone pulled their weight. So the how then. So now that Easton Reese is kind of fully on board, this is what Nick Aldis was waiting for. So during the match, Easton Reese would kind of enter and double spear both members of Aussie Open in the middle of the ring, kind of taking them out. As the Grizzly Young Vets are about to set up one of the Velocities for the Ticket to Ride, they flash pinfall them and get the win. Now, this was not the plan. I only added the Velocities to this feud as major players in this feud last month, the month before. That was after their exhibition match with Aussie Open, where they performed very similarly. They got 66 and 69, which is an absolutely nutty score from people we were using as jobbers up until last month. So what does that mean for the storyline going forward? Pretty much what will happen now is the Velocities are the underdog champs, a very classic story. So they are going to feud with the Grizzly Young Vets for a month, and all the while Aussie Open are going to be like, look, okay, you won, that's cool, fair play, and they're going to like try and be not pissed about it, but you know, their friends like Host Jim will then be like, you know, what the fuck, you stole the belts from someone who looked after you and saved your asses. And Aussie Open will go like, no, look, it's fine, honestly, it's okay. So then the next match after that will be Velocities versus Lyco's Gym. And then Aussie Open, I don't think they're going to turn heel, but they're going to kind of snap and just be like, right guys, it's time we want a rematch. Then the Velocities will be like, yep, okay, grand, but you got it. They'll do something to piss them off, essentially. And Aussie Open will just snap and be like, you wouldn't have even been in the title match if we hadn't let you be there. Again, I don't plan on turning Aussie Open heel, I don't think, but this will have about another 3 or 4 months left on it, so it'll be good. And I think the Velocities will be a really interesting champions going forward. Post-match then, everyone's in shock. Fucking everyone's losing their shit. The commentators are like, what did we just witness? Nick Aldis is like throwing an absolute shit fit at ringside. He's took his jacket off, he's like Ric Flairing it by elbow drop. Like, it's just mass pandemonium. Absolute mayhem. As the Velocities just scarper up the ring, are like, holy shit, we just won the belts. What just happened? 59 rated segment, which is good. And in our main event, Kenny Omega defeated Pac in 25 minutes, making it defense number 2 for the world title. Pac a 77, Kenny an 81, all in all an 82. Awesome. Now, I don't think we had a promo good enough to keep us above 80, but I think it should be definitely high 70s at least. Also, I think the last time we did this match, we got penalised for not having good enough either announcers or colour commentators. But we don't have that penalty this time. It's probably down to having Wade Barrett, Stu Bennett, on our commentator desk now, which we didn't have last time. So that's awesome to see that our announce team can now announce world-class matches, 80 plus matches. Yes, my prediction for the overall show score is... Oh no, we still have a segment, sorry. Apologies. Post-match then, AJ comes out and lays out Kenny Omega with the NPW Championship, busts him open, and uses Kenny's blood to sign his NPW contract. He then props up Kenny, and if you can remember the pose Kenny did with when they kicked out AJ, so AJ kind of sitting there unconscious, AJ replicates that but with Kenny Omega. All in all, a 64 rated segment. So yes, sorry, this is definitely the last section now. So I believe we will get a high 70s. That's what I want. High 70s, let's do it. 79, you can't get much higher a 70 than that. That's great. That's exactly what I wanted. Would have been nice if maybe Connor didn't do bad. He did a 76, but he has scored in 80 before, so it makes you wonder if he had scored an 80, could we have stayed above 80? And that would be awesome, because that would be us putting on as good a show as anyone else. So yes, for our Wrestlemania, essentially, that is a great score. I'm super happy with that. No real news then coming out of the pay-per-view. It's just WWE making a couple of re-signings. So they offered Paul Heyman a contract, and Otis and Raquel Gonzalez, but nothing massive there. If you have enjoyed this episode, do leave a like on it. Do leave a like and subscribe to the Bash Bros channel. We have our Game of the Year episodes. This will be well after that, but going up this Sunday. I still have one episode to edit, so my stress levels are very high. But yes, we have our Game of the Year episodes, our top 5 lists, so if you haven't seen them already, do go watch them. They are the most work I put into any video, pretty much. So yeah, do please go watch them. It means a lot if you could. If you have any ideas for storylines, tag teams, stables, feuds, anything like that, put it in the comments and I will try and book it for you. And with all that being said, I will see you next time on Bash Bros.